Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the new moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees and 40 minutes on December 12th, 2023. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And this is to help us start to connect to our multidimensional self, our galactic heritage that so many of us are starting to be really curious and interested in learning more about. So here, together, we learn more about the multidimensional perspective that we can gain with our galactic insights from, for example, this reading. So what you'll see here are three energetic themes that I've pulled out from this new moon chart that I see are key for the new moon energies and galactic influences that we are experiencing at this time. You will also receive a couple of questions at the end that you can work with, integrating this specific energy for the new moon. These questions are tailored to the energy that we are experiencing. So welcome. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments Reference Guide. A link is in the description below. So before we take a look at the chart, I'd like to name the three themes that I've pulled out for this new moon. The first theme I called The Stars Are Speaking. The second theme I named The Arrow is Pulled Back, Ready to Launch. How Sagittarius, right? And the third theme is Awakening Fireworks until April 2024. So stay with me and enjoy this dive into the three energetic themes of this new moon in Sagittarius. Let's take a look at the chart. So the new moon here at 20 degrees of Sagittarius, 40 minutes, is conjunct the constellation Ophiuchus and the fixed star Rasalhauge at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. Rasalhauge is a fixed star associated with the energy of indigenous wisdom, but also the ability to anchor light. And last time, we talked about Ophiuchus influencing us here from a galactic perspective was at the new moon in Leo on August 16th, 2023. And at that time, the new moon was trining Ophiuchus. So now the new moon, this new moon is conjunct Ophiuchus. So about this time since August, we have had a chance to deep dive into our ability to connect with ancient wisdom, indigenous wisdom, but also to bring that here, bring it up to the surface even more. This new moon is definitely a call to infuse, expand this energy. This new moon is opposite Orion-Bellatrix at 21 degrees of Gemini. And the opposition here suggests that the energy of Orion-Bellatrix, on the other hand, is one of organization, very decisive, very precise, perhaps logically based. This opposition here between these two energies suggests coming into balance between that desire of organization and having it precise step by step, and Ophiuchus, which is really the energy of anchoring light, indigenous wisdom. And if we move on to the ruler of this new moon, it's Jupiter. Jupiter is opposite the Shapley Attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So this is a massive expansion of multidimensional energy, universal wisdom from the Shapley Attractor, which is one of the biggest black holes or universal drivers, as I call it, of wisdom. And this is very much a suggestion, an invitation to expansion overall at this new moon, based on this opposition between Ophiuchus and Orion-Bellatrix as a signature energy for this new moon. And if you notice, I have pulled in Haumea, asteroid Haumea, the energy of integration of sky, earth, water. The Hawaiian goddess of fertility is the archetypal energy of the asteroid Haumea. And she is currently conjunct the Shapley Attractor. And Jupiter opposition here to Haumea and Shapley Attractor is really asking us an invitation to expand this new Earth energy at this new moon. At this new moon, we also have a square to Neptune at 24 degrees of Pisces here. And Neptune is now direct. So this forward movement of energy that Neptune is asking us to consider is very much connected to this new moon of expansion. Here you can see the constellation of Ophiuchus, and I've highlighted Rasalhauge here. And back in August, we talked about this trine between the new moon at the time and Ophiuchus. We were talking about taking charge of our own life force. And now you can see there, Ophiuchus is holding the Kundalini, the snake, right in his hands. So now when the new moon is conjunct Ophiuchus, it's time to actually start taking action on this. With Neptune direct now, it's go time. Neptune has been in retrograde since July 2023, and all the awareness, the self-awareness and the spiritual growth that we have done since, that is now up for application. We're going to integrate and move forward in our lives with that new insight, that new awareness that we have gained. So Ophiuchus here is really the archetypal energy of applied ancient wisdom. And part of it is too that it's applying it into new life forms, new ways of living, because Ophiuchus is also associated with plasma beings. And the galactic heritage around Ophiuchus is sometimes associated with plasma and plasma beings. So that's very interesting, I find. And next, let's dive into the first theme that I named The Stars Are Speaking. So here we have a water trine. If you notice, if we start here with Saturn at 1 degree 47 minutes, conjunct now Fomalhaut, the royal star Fomalhaut, associated with an angelic protection, especially Archangel Gabriel is associated with Fomalhaut specifically. But Saturn is now back in alignment, in conjunction with the royal star here of Fomalhaut. And in trine with Fomalhaut is Vesta. Vesta is the home and the hearth of divine femininity, and she's an asteroid with a rich myth around the divine feminine expression. Vesta is how we hold our spiritual flame. It is how we are nourishing ourselves with our spiritual flame within. It's to hold and express that. And now here at 1 degree 56 minutes in Cancer, it's to bring it home. So the Fomalhaut trine to Vesta is a very powerful one in water. Now we have more. We have a trine between Vesta and Haumea as well at 1 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct the Shapley Attractor. As I mentioned earlier, Haumea is the archetype, one of the archetypes of New Earth energy, and the trine here between Vesta and Haumea at 1 degree, along with that trine to Saturn again at 1 degree, there is something new beginning here. It's a very physical realization that's going on here between these three energies. So this water trine is very, very powerful, with Saturn bringing in the soul lessons, protected by angelic guidance here as well, but flowing with Vesta energy and with Haumea energy at this time. But there is more. There's more to the stars here. So to this theme, there is another trine that I'd like to add on to this water trine, and it's an earth trine. It starts with Lilith, Black Moon Lilith here, and this is the mean calculation that I'm showing here at 7 degrees of Virgo, conjunct the constellation of Draco and the fixed star Thuban. This combination of Black Moon Lilith conjunct the Draco-Thuban star here in this archetypal energy of healing deep, deep wounds of the unseen deep feminine energy that is activated at this new moon. And also the trine here between Lilith, Draco-Thuban, and the ruler of this new moon, Jupiter here, opposite the Shapley Attractor, is just one more infusion of that expansion. And then we have the trine between Jupiter and Mercury here. Mercury at 8 degrees 29 minutes, opposite Sirius B at 7 degrees of Cancer. This opposition to Sirius B is one where we can bring in more creativity and adaptability. It's very mercurial, this opposition between Mercury and Sirius B. It's using our logic in a positive way to become adaptable, becoming flexible, seeing new ways, new solutions in action. I also want to go back to Black Moon Lilith here and the actual squares to the Stargate, Aldebaran, and Antares at 10 degrees of Gemini and Sagittarius, respectively. Are really supporting the multidimensional healing of the deep feminine mystic energy that is unseen here. So that squares rather are really growth opportunities and supporting energies from beyond our own galaxy, the intergalactic travel that happens, and the energy flow here in that Stargate is very important. And if we put these two trines together, the stars are speaking. Here, we can see a flowing energy in the first decan, first degree trine here, Vesta, Saturn, and Haumea, but also the 6th, 7th, and 8th degree, all part of the first decan here, energy, which is associated with physical realm, Jupiter, Mercury, and Black Moon Lilith here, associated with Sirius, with Draco-Thuban, Shapley Attractor. This is powerful galactic heritage of humanity that we're dealing with here and are playing out and influences this expansion of this new moon. The new moon is taking place in the 3rd decan, which is calling on us to call on our ancient wisdom to help guide us. But also the 3rd decan is associated with the spiritual realm. So it's a guidance for us that what is taking place in the earthly realm and what we can see, what we can feel, is guided at a higher perspective from this new moon's perspective, which is the 3rd decan of the spiritual realm. So here you can take in the energy of these 3 key main players along with Draco-Thuban and Sirius B. It's Vesta, it's Haumea, it's Lilith, and this emphasized energy, the emphasized divine feminine energy that is taking place at this time, at this new moon. The second theme here I called "The Arrow is Pulled Back and Ready to Launch." So I want to highlight here a couple of yods. One that is our long-term guidance provided by Neptune, Pluto, pointing to the constellation of Hydra-Alphard. And we have talked about Hydra-Alphard previous videos, But I want you to notice in this new moon that Pluto and Neptune and Hydra-Alphard are engaged here in this new moon too, for long-term guidance. And the reason I'm bringing this yod up now is that Neptune is direct. So we have water and earth. The foundation here between Pluto and Neptune is water and earth. But where is it pointing to? It's pointing to Hydra-Alphard, 27 degrees of Leo, which is fire. So our guidance is to tap into our life force. Hydra-Alphard is that Kundalini energy associated with our life force. And that life force is the foundation of our bow and arrow, right? To be able to pull back that arrow and aiming for a vision is what this is all about. Now, the next yod that is influencing this new moon is more of a short-term character. And here we have Mercury and Venus with Pallas Athene also next to her, pointing to, and both of those, I should say, is in Earth. Mercury is in Earth, Capricorn, and Venus and Pallas Athene is in water. Now, where are they pointing to? They're pointing to Hyades, the star cluster Hyades at 6 degrees of Gemini. And Hyades is this also linked to creativity, to life force, and preparation. Hyades is that star cluster that I find often is associated with a holding place for souls before they ascend to Earth. And it's a sense of preparation and often an infusion of life force that is experienced when incarnating or associated with Hyades star cluster. So here we have the short-term guidance pointing to that creativity, that archetypal energy of creation, supported by Mercury and Venus, Pallas Athene in water and earth here, pointing to the element of air. So the fire and air is where ultimately our guidance is towards. The arrow is pulled back to be able to fly in the air. So yes, this is very prominent energy at this new moon. So I want to also highlight Chiron as part of this theme, because Chiron is getting ready to go direct on December 26th. And now the arrow is pulled back with Chiron hitting the ground running at the end of the year here. Chiron is conjunct the constellation Andromeda and the fixed star Alperatz. Andromeda-Alperatz at 14 degrees of Aries is associated with expansive feminine energy, but also the independence of that femininity, the freedom, the enjoyment of it. So it's a very light, free, and expansive energy. Now, there are squares here to Sirius A at 13 degrees of Cancer, and also squares to Lyra-Vega at 14 degrees of Capricorn. Sirius A and Lyra-Vega, both Canis Minor as a constellation and Sirius A as a dual star system with Sirius A and B, and Lyra has long history, galactic history with human heritage relationship. And it really is the guidance here long-term to start tapping into our life force and our creativity, fire and air. As you can see here, we're dealing with Sirius A and Lyra-Vega, both in water and earth, respectively. And the squares here, we are really asked to be focusing on transmuting that energy, pulling back the arrow to aim for our future. And Chiron, now turning direct December 26th, is really getting ready to do things in a new way, look at things from a different perspective, whatever that represents for you. And here at this new moon, we have a trine, a beautiful trine in fire between Mars, as you can see here, and Chiron. Mars is conjunct the Great Attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, suggesting to us that there is multiverse energy pushing through here with the alignment to Mars, influencing and preparing Chiron for going direct here in the middle of Aries, which is like halfway through our self-awareness, self-development journey. At 15 degrees is right in the middle of that sign. So here we have an ask, an invitation to outgrow and look at our heritage, whether in this life or in past lives, to see if we can evolve. Here, I just want to leave you with the constellation of Andromeda, and I've highlighted Alperatz here, the fixed star Alperatz, and also an image of Alperatz energy. So let's take that in for a moment. This freedom, this independence, this playfulness and enjoyment is part of where Chiron is now preparing to launch from that platform as he goes direct in December here, later in December this month. The third theme I want to highlight is the awakening fireworks going on until April 2024. And why do I call this awakening fireworks? Well, I have noticed that all the new moons since the solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse in Aries on April 20th, 2023, this year, have been in the third decan. All of the new moons have been in the third decan, which means between 20 and 29 degrees of their respective signs. And will also continue in the third decan with the upcoming new moons until the next solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024, which is at 19 degrees, the first new moon, not in the third decan, after a year-long streak of new moons in the third decan. So this time is very special when it comes to the new moons, pointing us and guiding us in the third decan, the spiritual realm, right? So I just wanted to highlight that. So if this is a validation that all the expansion, especially at this new moon in Sagittarius, is kickoff for, Chiron going direct, Neptune now being in direct position as well. It's full stem ahead with that expansion of your multidimensional perspective, your multidimensional self, connecting with that perspective of yourself. It's all in divine timing. It's right now. So enjoy this time of spiritual expansion of your vision, your sense of purpose, your clear vision of what you're here to contribute with. Now is the time. We're in the midst of it, but come April next year, it's going to be a shift in energy there. And I'll talk about that more in upcoming videos, of course. But I just wanted to highlight this important time in our lives right now. So in summary, the first theme here, the stars are really speaking to us. We have two powerful trines, one in earth, one in water, doing the heavy lifting for what's to come into next year. The trines here in earth and water are highlighting the deep divine feminine energy associated with Haumea conjunct the Shapley Attractor, Black Moon Lilith conjunct the Draco-Thuban constellation, and Saturn under angelic guidance and protection of it all, conjunct Fomalhaut, and Jupiter as the ruler of this new moon, is opposite the Shapley Attractor as well. So there's powerful unearthing of energy related to the deep feminine, the mystic unseen at this time. But the heavy lifting is done through the elements of earth and water. It's all preparing us for this energetic shift to fire, to air element, and that type of energy as we move forward. And that is the lead into the second theme. The arrow is pulled back and ready to launch. That long-term guidance from Pluto and Neptune, pointing to Hydra-Alphard constellation. Hydra, which is the archetypal energy of the Kundalini life force energy at 27 degrees of Leo, the courage, the strength, the sovereignty that we are guided towards long term. But also we have the second yod with more short-term guidance, engaging Mercury opposite Sirius B at 7 degrees of Cancer, but also Venus opposite Andromeda-Alperatz, pointing that yod to the Hyades star cluster at 6 degrees of Gemini. And here we go, that push towards more creativity and leaning on our inner vision around our creativity and what we can create. And that is in the air element. And that's all preparing Chiron for going direct later in the month. Chiron now conjunct Andromeda-Alperatz at 14 degrees of Taurus, signifying that archetypal energy of independence, enjoyment, deep feminine energy. And the third theme, awakening fireworks until April 2024, just realizing that all the new moons from the solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse on April 20th, 2023 this year, to the next solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse on April 8th of 2024, all of the new moons in their respective signs have been in the third decan, which means anywhere between 20 and 29 degrees of the signs, which is the spiritual realm. So this whole stretch of a year is this awakening fireworks. And so clearly this stretch of time is highlighting our spiritual self. And we're in the midst of it now. So I have a couple of questions for you to work with, should you want to integrate this new moon energy some more. The first question is, given the powerful earth and water energy, this spiral of energy that is currently ongoing at this time of the new moon, is giving us an opportunity to engage with that inner divine feminine mystic within ourselves. What it may also require is how to feel this inner stability within ourselves in times of uncertainty and change. We also have Neptune and Pluto, of course, in earth and water right now. And with Neptune direct and Pluto, of course, digging its deep trench here in Capricorn, it's a very much an earth and water environment. And it's this energy, this heavy energy, sometimes it feels like that, is really linked to how we are going to step into fire and earth later on. But the stars are really speaking to us. The asteroids are speaking to us. Lilith, Haumea, Vesta are heavily involved in this new moon to ensure that we unearth everything within earth and water that we need to for the future. So what do you need to stay centered, to stay grounded in times of change and uncertainty? The second question is associated with this arrow that is pulled back and ready to launch. So my question is, what have you learned about yourself during the past 15 years? Because part of this arrow being pulled back and ready to launch is also Pluto's work during the past 15 years in Capricorn. And when we step into air, when Pluto steps into air, it's ready for launch. This arrow that's pulled back is going to launch. And it's about what we've learned about ourselves and our world. Have we changed perspective on something? Have we evolved beyond our habits and patterns that have held us back many times before? So this is a very reflective question. What have you learned the past years, 15 years since 2008? The third question is associated with this upcoming shift for Chiron, going direct at 15 degrees of Aries, conjunct Andromeda-Alperatz. That is an energy of future individuality, independence, enjoyment, at the same time applying that vision with freedom. So my question is, how can you expand your inner passion? Those fire and air guidances around Hydra-Alphard in Leo, 27 degrees of Leo, where one yod is what's pointing towards, and the other yod pointing towards air, the 6 degrees of Gemini, the star cluster of Hyades, with a lot of infusion of creativity. How can you tap further into that? How can you go deeper with it? Now is the time to set a future vision and believing in it. So I hope this has been supportive. This reading has been supportive for you at this time, at this new moon in Sagittarius. I can't wait to come back with another video and sharing this perspective of galactic astrology with you in the future as well. If you're new, welcome here. If you're here for the first time, I just want to say thank you for coming and watching this video this far. And if you have been with me for a while, thank you for coming again, showing up here. And if you're curious about your own galactic alignments, download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the description below if you want to know more. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, listening and watching to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan, and I'll see you soon again. Bye.